Okay, here you go. I put it, in my case, I put it on top of the stove. And as you can see, it's wrapped up. And I put a plate on top of it, like that, like so. And then to balance it out with a heavy iron skillet. I got an iron skillet. I have a griddle right here. And then I put a griddle on top of that. And then to balance it out, as you can see, I got the handles on opposite sides. And I sit it on that right there, so balanced, really nice. And then I usually add a full tea kettle of water. That adds a little weight. So as you can see, okay, that's gonna squeeze out the water. And I wait about half an hour to 45 minutes. So let's wait. And that's how you drain it. And yesterday I really didn't ever think about doing this kind of video, but this guy in front of me at the market, he actually had this stuff called Beyond Meat, and I was just standing there. I go, what's he got? That looks like some kind of patty made out of whatever grains or whatever. I was tired of the brand I had, and he asked me what I was going to do with the tofu, and I told him this is how I prepare it. And then as I was talking to him, he goes, well, hell, I'm Asian, I don't even know, you know. He was Cambodian. And I told him him and his wife, they wanted to be vegans. And I told him 21 years ago when I gave it up, back then there was no internet, there was no YouTube. So I just progressed to this point, and it took me that long, I told him. And then when I was talking to him, he goes, I don't even know how to prepare it. And I go, hey man, I got a channel. I go, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna upload it for people like you, because I really want people to be vegans, because eventually, whether the world wants to or not, we're not gonna have a choice. Like I said, I believe the government, it's gonna have to start doing something and getting people to start eating tofu, because like I said, we're stretching the Earth's resources. And there's been a couple of times in history, ancient history, where mass populations just disappeared. They don't know what happened. Like Homer's Greeks and the Egyptians at that time, they just disappeared. And then they went into like a 200-year dark age. Well, whatever happened, they feel that it was probably maybe the carrying capacity of the resources at that time, or maybe these unknown sea people had something to do with it. They intruded on the shipping lanes and stopped trade in the ancient world, and maybe that's what happened. There was a collapse, but they don't know. And like I said, I would assume it was probably some kind of a dearth of available resources, probably a lack of arable land, or whatever brings famines, locusts, I don't know, disease. But as far as I know, the world, it's not gonna have a choice, because the carrying capacity is 10 billion. So if we start now, like I said, 3.5 billion acres, or 1.5 hectares of arable land can grow grains, and yearly that can bring a 2 billion ton abundance annually of grains. But like I said, we have to all agree to be vegans, if not vegetarians. So and like I say, I feel also the earth, Gaia, it has a consciousness, and when it knows everything's out of flux, whatever you want to call it, God, nature, the spirits, what have you, it brings famine, it brings black death, it brings disease, it brings TB, like in the influenza epidemic of 1918 and 1919. Millions upon millions of people died for no reason. And maybe it was Gaia, maybe it was the earth saying, well, we have to call the herd, we have to hold back. But it didn't really matter, because after that, the earth exploded in billions and billions of people, and it's increasing geometrically. So get ready and hold on, because we're, like I said, we're going to be at 9 billion in 27 years now, 2050. So this is what I do, and I'd say get used to it, because it's coming. The government's going to enforce this type of diet. I feel they're not going to have a choice, but it has to be ever so slowly, okay? Because you can't just shock people all of a sudden and say, okay, 10 billion people, everybody's going to eat tofu. Everybody's got to start now, and they're probably going to introduce it and enforce it. Okay, and like I said, I'm not preaching. I'm not a health kook. I'm not a PETA kook. I'm not a global warming kook, okay? All right, so this is the second part. So let's go on to the third after half an hour. Okay. Follow me, let's go.